Hi everyone, Brianne Melissa here. Today I'm going to be discussing the most out of control people on the TLC TV show My 600 Pound Life, whereas its participants are dangerously overweight, sometimes even on the brink of death. And if they don't get a hold of their weight and their health in time, they're going to either be bedbound or, unfortunately, in the ground. So, anyway, without further ado, here are the most out of control people on the show My 600 Pound Life. James King. James King, at the time of his episode, was the heaviest person to be on My 600 Pound Life, with a starting weight of 790 something pounds when he arrived in Houston to see Dr. Now. Dr. Now noticed that from the time when he did a Skype call with James to the time when James arrived in Houston, he had not lost any weight at all. In fact, he had gained weight. And he was very concerned for him that he talked to Lisa's girlfriend. I'm sorry, that he talked to James's girlfriend, Lisa, who was one of his biggest enablers because she had given in to his tantrums and demands for unhealthy food. And Dr. Now warned her and him that if James didn't change his behavior, then Dr. Now was not going to help them. And Dr. Now, out of concern, kept James in the hospital for a month and put him on a strict diet. And which at that time, James lost a significant amount of weight. However, when he went home, despite sticking to the diet for a little while, he later went back to his old ways after suffering heart failure. And he ended up gaining 154 pounds, ending up being 843 pounds. Yeah. And as you would imagine, Dr. Now was not pleased at all. And he kept him in the hospital for another month, where James lost more weight. And he also gave James an ultimatum when he sent him home: lose weight or go back to Kentucky. And so James went home. But he did not comply and gained more weight. And so Dr. Now kicked him out of the program and denied him the weight loss surgery. And eventually he went back to see Dr. Now, but he had only lost 18 pounds on his own. But Dr. Now gave him another chance because it was the first time he had ever lost weight on his own. But, however, after that initial progress, James went back to his old ways again, and Dr. Now had finally had it and threw in the towel on him. And at one point, even called Adult Protective Services on his girlfriend Lisa, who had been sneaking in food. He had been sneaking food into the hospital for James behind Dr. Now's back. And in the end, James didn't change his life and was not able to get the surgery performed. And the doctor kicked him out of the program again. Stephen Asante. Stephen Asante is one of the better known participants in my 600-pound life, partially for his repulsive behavior towards people, all other people, that is, not just certain people, but especially his brother, Justin. He was also a participant on the Dr. Phil show House of Hate, where he appeared as John Asante. And he also has a really weird YouTube channel where he behaves very weirdly and creepy, like doing a video of him sitting on the toilet talking and dancing naked with Christmas tree lights wrapped around him to Santa Baby, and doing other crazy shenanigans. And Stephen also, in addition to his food addiction, also had a really bad pill addiction. And at one point was kicked out of the program and forced into rehab to kick his pill addiction. But that failed, just like the weight loss program pretty much failed for him. He constantly lost weight in the hospital and then gained it all back when he was out on his own, because Dr. Now had kicked him out of the hospital when he was abusive to the hospital staff, including throwing a container of urine at a nurse. Despite claiming it was an accident, everybody knows that he did it on purpose. And he was eventually able to get the weight loss surgery, but despite improving a lot after the surgery, he went back to his old ways and gained weight again. And not only that, but also went back to his old ways with the drug addiction. Even going so far as, when his brother Justin had the weight loss surgery, stealing his pain meds. Yeah, that's right. And when he did that, that was the last straw for Dr. Now. Dr. Now kicked him out of the program and Stephen is now on his own. And Justin and Stephen no longer talk. They are estranged. And Stephen has certainly not changed at all with his attitude. Although he got married to a woman named Stephanie, he has not seemed to have made any changes or any significant changes to his life. Penny Sager. Penny Sager was probably one of the most unbelievable patients on My 600-Pound Life. Penny knew that she was on a dangerous and unhealthy path, yet every time Dr. Now talked to her, or one of the other professionals talked to her, she would argue back and forth with them, and she would refuse to comply with their orders and what their recommendations were. Eventually, Penny did lose enough weight to have the weight loss surgery performed. However, even so, just a couple weeks after, she had gained weight while in the hospital because she had her husband bring her food in. And then she cried and complained to Dr. Now about why things hadn't changed for her. Dr. Now considered her to be one of the most delusional patients he had ever worked with. And Penny has since quit the program and decided to do things her way. Although, as you would correctly guess, her way is not the correct way. As her social media, what she is not very active on, only shows pictures of her still wearing her breathing tube. Shanae Murray Hawkins. Shanae Murray Hawkins was another very delusional patient of Dr. Now's, also one of the most, too. Dr. Now advised Shanae that if she did not get a hold on things and did not take it seriously, she would not be alive for very long. However, Shanae just seemed to not take it seriously and seemed to gain weight whenever she was on her own, and immediately undo the weight loss that the hospital had done when she was in the hospital. And her behavior eventually made Dr. Now question whether or not she really wanted the surgery at all and had any plans to change her habits. And she even insulted Dr. Now during a phone call when she questioned him if he believed in God, and even became offended when he told her that God is not going to magically solve her problems, and told her that she is responsible for her behavior, not God. And when she finally started psychotherapy, the therapist even had to tell her that it was not appropriate for her to ask him a question like that. And the therapist also recognized that part of Shanae's problem is that she does not hold herself responsible for her failure to lose weight, and so she places the blame on others instead of turning the lens on herself and figuring out what she can do differently. However, following her last doctor's appointment and weigh-in, Shanae stopped participating in filming and didn't show up for her next appointment, and blocked Dr. Now's number to keep him from contacting her. And as a result, Dr. Now kicked her out of the program, and she was not able to get the surgery. Pauline Potter. Pauline Potter was another one of the stars on My 600-Pound Life who was previously well known for her appearance on Dr. Phil and Dr. Oz, and for having herself certified by the Guinness Book World Record as the heaviest woman alive. However, Potter's health was failing, and she was consistently reliant upon her son Dylan for her everyday needs. She went to Dr. Now for help, but she was another very difficult patient, and even also argued with the doctor about her habits and the things she ate, and even in questioning when he made the decision to put her in the hospital, saying that I think he might be overreacting a bit. And she eventually did get the weight loss surgery. However, even after that, 5 days after, she was still refusing to get up and walk, despite Dr. Now's repeated warnings that if she didn't get up and walk, it could be fatal because she could develop a blood clot in her leg that could go to her heart and lungs. As a result, Dr. Now had to perform another procedure on her to put a blood clot filter in her leg to prevent that, noting that she is a very self-destructive person. And even after Pauline went home, she still refused to comply with the program. She skipped her physical therapy after as well, claiming they never called her, but it turned out she was lying to Dr. Now when he called them and found out that they had called her 3 times and turned them away every time. Dr. Dow mentioned that Pauline wanted and expected a magic pill to solve all her problems without her doing the hard work. So eventually, Dr. Dow dismissed her from the program until her follow-up a little while later, in which she started doing physical therapy and even got skin surgery after a few setbacks. And today she is doing very well and has lost a significant amount of weight. Janine Mueller. Janine Mueller's episode was a real crazy one. Between her arguing with Dr. Dow and eating fast food all day, every day. Like when she went through the McDonald's drive-thru on her motorized scooter to order a 20-piece chicken nugget meal. At first, Janine was very non-compliant and even got into a disagreement with Dr. Dow, saying she was bulimic. What she told her that was simply not true. But despite her drama with Dr. Now, she did end up getting the weight loss surgery and has made a lot of progress. And she has since said that as soon as she met Dr. Now, she knew he was the surgeon for her. Letitia White. Letitia White was definitely one of the most controversial cases on My 600-Pound Life. When she came on the show in her first episode, she was stubborn, delusional, and just plain non-compliant with the program. Gaining weight every time on her own outside of the hospital, that, like so many others who go that way, Dr. Dow dismissed her from the program. However, in her follow-up episode, Dr. Dow had seen that she had made some improvement and conditionally pre-qualified her for weight loss surgery. And she did end up getting the surgery and has been doing very well. Mercedes' episode was very shocking. She seemed to always be delusional about her situation and seemed very non-committed to the program. And it eventually made the doctor question if she had any real plans to change any part of her life. And it appears that she did not, because she ended up being kicked off the program leaving Houston and moving elsewhere, and even starting a GoFundMe page, which she has hardly made enough money on to reach her goal. Lisa Fleming was definitely one of the most controversial figures on My 600-Pound Life. And her episode was very shocking, mostly because of the fact that, as it was discovered, Lisa had maggots growing in her flesh, in the folds of her skin. Yeah. And when she discovered that, her daughter called Dr. Nowzaradan in Texas, pleading and begging for help. And Dr. Now agreed to take her on. Yet when the paramedics arrived and she complained that she was sick and tired of being trapped in the bed, yet she was still eating Fruit Loops. When she arrived in Houston, Dr. Now gave her the diet, his plan, and everything else she needed to be successful. But however, Lisa didn't take it seriously, and neither did her boyfriend Herbert, who continued to sneak her food when she was in the hospital. Including when Dr. Now found a Doritos bag, an empty Doritos bag in her bed, and her and Herbert tried lying about it, but Dr. Now knew better. He even sent her to psychotherapy and even sent a nutritionist over to her house who cleaned out her refrigerator and cupboards of unhealthy food. Despite Lisa lying about who was eating the food, eventually the nutritionist got her to admit the truth. But Lisa still wanted to keep some of it, claiming that they were prizes for Herbert when he did things for her. However, despite all that, Lisa still continued to go downhill and even had a meltdown and nervous breakdown in the hospital emergency room when she went there for pain in her legs from her lymphedema. And she even made threats of saying she wanted to kill herself. But once the hospital finished doing a full and thorough psychiatric evaluation on her, they came to the conclusion that Lisa was just being manipulative and trying to get out of a difficult situation. And then and there, Dr. Now had it. And Lisa was thrown off the program and denied the weight loss surgery she needed. And in 2018, Lisa passed away at the age of 50. And update. A few days ago, James King also passed away in a hospital, and no details have been given, but we just know that he passed away at a hospital, and it was most likely due to his obesity. May not have been, but it most likely was. Thank you for listening, and please like and subscribe, and have a wonderful day.